a legend, your old friend, bald-bearded Barry Warner, who used to tap you on the shoulder pads when you would go through the goalposts at Old Rock Pile, known as War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo, New York, has learned that Rick Smith will be retained as general manager, and he will conduct the search. And that's not breaking news. Everyone has kind of speculated. But the news is this. There are 3 men who are candidates for the head coaching job. One, Mike Sherman, who would coach, up in Green Bay and now is at Texas A&M. Number 2, the head coach at Air Force Academy, former offensive coach with Shanahan in Denver, and that is Troy Calhoun. And number 3, a man with an excellent resume, but who has never coached before, that you are very familiar with, the Raiders offensive coordinator, Hugh Jackson. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, the head coach where?
Of the Houston Texans.
Oh, Houston. Well, they were. I didn't know that they had fired the.
They haven't, but the news that I'm breaking, and I've had this confirmed from multiple sources, is that Rick has on his hit list these 3 names, and the apple of his eye is Hugh Jackson, a man who coached for Schottenheimer and a man who's got an excellent track record. Your thoughts on what he's done with the Raiders?
Well, I think he's done a good job. He's come in. He's a fiery guy. He's a very upbeat, optimistic guy. Has taken over the offense, and Tom Cable was bright enough and smart enough to allow him full control of the offense. And Tom just stepped away and did what he does best, and that's coach the offensive linemen and coach the whole team and organize the whole team, because calling the plays was not Cable's forte, and Hugh has done a good job. He really has. I know him. I don't know him intimately. He did go to a great university. I know that.
College of the Pacific?
Yeah, I think I remember that. When I was there so long ago, it's called the College of Pacific.
Hey, let me ask you this question. In terms of being a first-time head coach, what are the pitfalls for a first-time head coach, especially taking over a team, if indeed this ends up, going down and he is a guy who the Texans end up targeting here? First-time head coach coming into a situation where the team maybe has underachieved a little bit. What's your thought on that?
Well, it's not easy to come in with a team that obviously you're coming in with a team that has not had a successful year. In most cases, that's what happens. Very few times do you come in and replace a winning program like North Turner did at San Diego. But so the one thing you have to do, obviously, you have to don't try to be somebody you're not if you've never been a head coach. Don't try to be some other head coach and take after everything he did. You have to do what you do best and believe in yourself and we talked about the other things. Make sure you hire. Don't just hire right away, but unfortunately you have to get after it right away. Yeah. Hire the best guys you can, and then realize that the work is going to be overwhelming, because you're going to try to do everything yourself that first year and almost kill yourself.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Tom Flores, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate that. You were very gracious with your time tonight.
All right, guys. Take care.
Happy New Year, buddy.
You bet. Same to you.
2-time Super Bowl champ, Tom Flores. Now he sits in the booth, called a commentator for the Oakland Raiders. But the big news is the news that Barry Warner broke during the interview, and that's that Rick Smith is coming back.
He is definitely coming back.
Gary Kubiak is definitely not.
Will not. And a preliminary list is Hugh Jackson, offensive coordinator with the Raiders. Never been a head coach before.
And the other 2?
Troy Calhoun, who was on Gary's staff as an offensive coordinator when he went to Air Force Academy. Sherm came in. And number 3, Mike Sherman.
Wow. Okay.
And anybody that wants a guy who has been a head coach in the National Football League before has to have Mike Sherman on their wish list. Now, a very interesting scenario that you and I will kick around.
Yeah.
What happens if Tom Coughlin gets whacked in New York?
Well, that's it. Boy, this is...
And John Fox goes to New York.
Well, okay.
How do you not speak to a Tom Coughlin?
Boy, this is 713. This is pretty big. 713. Now, again, this is Barry's news, breaking news here. We're going to get your reaction. 713-572-4610 and kick it around a little bit when we come back. You're listening to Houston Sports Leader. This is Sports Radio 610.
The legendary Bobby Bowden tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. John McClain, 7:30 on the Texans' final week. Also, Jason Friedman, Rockets.com on the Rockets and the Heat tomorrow night. Tomorrow, 6 to 10 on Sports Radio 6.